is Diana Hart at Poplar Village Gardens. I thought that today I would talk a little bit about some of our sustainability practices here and how we try to put our resources into the earth and to keep our resources here on the property. One of the things, and we've talked about this before, the blueberries that I have planted here need an acidic soil, and our soil is typically pretty alkaline. So we are trying to do whatever we can in natural ways in order to acidify the soil, and one of the ways that we do that is by putting coffee grounds around the blueberries. Now, serendipitously, and part of our community building is one of our neighbors works at a coffee shop, and they offered to bring the coffee grounds from the coffee shop here for the use in the garden, which has worked out fantastically because we get a 5-gallon bucket or more every single week from this neighbor to put into our garden, and we've been using it to mulch around the blueberries. Now, we're standing here in the middle of where our raised beds are located, and what we have done with our raised beds is we have utilized mulch and cardboard in the pathways in order to control weeds, but we also have a layer of mulch underneath all of our soil in these beds, which is biomass that will break down and become fertilizer for the plants that are growing there. We can also use different kinds of mulch on top to do water control, which is a really big issue. With gardening, you need lots of water, and the more you can keep in the soil to go to the plant's use, the less you need, and the less time you spend watering. We have watered with all rainwater for the last 2 summers, and we're hoping to do that again, and part of that is in our conservation practices. I'm standing here in front of our container garden. This was our container garden from last year, and right now our containers are as they were at the end of the season last year. But that is something that we've been able to do where we've been able to glean food grade buckets that we can then use as containers for growing more food and vegetables. We like to do that a lot in our use of found items in the garden. Once it's become unusable in its typical way, we try to find a way to make it useful in the garden, and a lot of that is used in areas where we might be planting plants that are going to want something to climb on. So we've got a rocking horse, we've got some old lawn chairs, we have some pieces of a bunk bed. There are things out here in the yard that were discarded by others that are brought into the garden to be able to be used again. I'm standing here in front of what is our wash and pack area. We, like I said, have done a lot of our watering is primarily with rainwater, and one of the ways that we harvest that and use it is by using containers that have already been used for their original purpose. Could have been recycled, but at this particular site, we choose to wait until the containers can't hold water and then we recycle them. So they're getting another life before they go to the recycling center. I am standing here in front of our composting toilet. One of the things that we realized early on is if we were going to have volunteer work days, if we were going to have volunteers coming and going, or staff coming and going, especially in the time of COVID, we need to be able to do as much as we can outside. We got this composting toilet and had this outhouse built. It's worked very well for us at this time, and it's one of the ways that we have sustainable practices here at the garden.